I'm gonna be so honest, GCSE physics was one of my easiest GCSEs by far. And to show that it was, I can say confidently, well, obviously, I got a 9 in GCSE physics. And trust me, when I was sitting those exams, I was Nah, I won't swear actually. I was legitimately shaking, thinking I'd do terribly. Came out of the exams and I was like, why was that so easy? What I'm here to do today is to tell you how you can make those exams just as easy for you and get a 9 in GCSE physics. I sounded kind of cocky there. Let me tone it down. But it's true because I was prepared for that exam and you can be too. Now, the unique thing about GCSE physics that is different from chemistry and biology is the maths portion of it. And you should really take advantage of that. If you're good at maths, then don't revise too much of the maths portion because you know you're just subbing things into equations and using equations that you just need to memorize, or half the time will be on your formula book. But if you know you're not good at maths, then you either need to get better at maths so that you can equally get better at GCSE physics, or vice versa. Just get better at GCSE physics maths. Because at the end of the day, GCSE physics maths isn't too complicated. A lot of the time, it's not like GCSE maths. It's just adding things, multiplying things, dividing things, and you know how to do that. You just need to practice it through exam questions and past papers. There are some other things there that can get a bit more difficult, like ratios and percentages and whatever. But as long as you memorize equations and get good at the maths, you're set for GCSE physics. I remember in my paper 2, I remember it literally was just subbing things into equations that they literally gave in the formula book. In fact, a lot of the questions were asking us to tell them equations that they had already given us. But then we go to the side of physics that is more content heavy, and you remember that you need to remember those things. And if you've just come back from watching my biology and chemistry video, this is going to sound really annoying, but I'm going to say it again. You gotta use flashcards, because I can confidently say that the only reason I got a 9 in any of my sciences, in which I got a 9 in all of my sciences, was because of flashcards. Without flashcards, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I could have failed the GCSEs, I can't lie. I made my own flashcards throughout the year, and I remembered most of the content by the time exams came. So all I was doing during exam season was doing past papers, making sure that I just knew what I was doing. And I was getting 9s on those past papers. I was still scared when I went to the exam because it's the exam, it's the real exam. But I was doing well on the past papers I was doing prior because I remembered the content. I just remembered right now that I didn't touch on anything like the practicals and the required practicals in my biology and chemistry video, so I guess this is my chance to say it in this video. You gotta remember your required practicals. Not only do you need to remember your required practicals, which can be done with stuff like flashcards, you need to actually know the scientific skills that are required when you do those practicals. It matters a lot more at A-level, which I'm doing, where there's a whole paper in A-level physics dedicated to the scientific skills that you use whilst you do practicals. In GCSE physics, it's not as important, but there are questions like that. For example, it will ask you maybe, what is an uncertainty? Or it will ask you to give an uncertainty. And if you don't know what an uncertainty is, because that's a scientific skill that you need to know, then you can't get the mark. Or if you don't know how to read a micrometer, which I think you need to know for GCSE physics, then you won't get the mark. Or how to read an oscilloscope, or how to read any graph, or how to graph. These scientific skills that you think during, maybe whilst you're doing practicals, oh, it's just another practical, it's just another thing that I need to copy down or just do without thinking too much. These are things that you need to know, and you do these practicals in this way during lessons for a reason. It's just that a lot of teachers don't emphasize the fact that you need to know what you're actually doing and remember this stuff so that you can regurgitate it in exams. I say regurgitate a lot, don't I? Cut that out, maybe. Yeah, so required practicals and the maths part of physics. We talked about that. And the fact that you can remember content through flashcards. What I haven't talked about, and if anyone's watched my GCSE chemistry and biology video, you're once again going to get annoyed at me, but it's the immersion technique, which a lot of people haven't heard of, which is why I keep on saying it in all these videos, because I guarantee you're going to click off this video after you finish watching it and not use it. Because it's such a niche thing to do, but it does help. Now, I go into much more depth on it on my actual immersion technique video, which is somewhere up here. I pointed up there for a reason. But basically, it's thinking about your subject in your daily life and thinking about how it interacts with things in context and thinking about how it reacts to things in context. For example, you could just be going to school, you put your book down on a table, and you think about the fact that that book isn't falling through the table because it's got a normal reaction force acting upwards, balancing out the weight of the book, which is the force acting downwards. And it's just thinking about stuff like that, which helps you understand the stuff that you've learned in lesson. Now, I said I'm gonna stop trying to annoy you with all these things that I've already said in the other videos. So I'm just gonna list them off real quickly. Past papers, Cognito, Seneca, free science lessons, the goal, and exam questions. Obviously, you gotta use them. Free science lessons is better for practicals, but Cognito is starting to make its own videos on practicals. Cognito is better for content, in my opinion. And then Seneca is a website you use when you can't be asked to revise, but you gotta revise. So you just put Seneca on and enjoy the gifs and the lovely colors it puts on the screen. It gets things right. I feel like that video was like way longer than the other GCSE videos. So if that was a hard watch for a lot of you, sorry about that. But yeah, you come to the end of the video now. That's my GCSE Science How to Get a 9 series finally finished. I filmed all these videos in a row, if you couldn't tell, because I'm wearing the same thing. And stay tuned for the ones that are coming on English literature and English language. And also, if you're an A-level student for some reason and you're watching this, go ahead and stay tuned for my A-star in A-level maths and A-star in A-level physics video. I won't be making one in further maths because I don't know if I can get an A-star in that yet, but we will see. Goodbye. Oh, and have a nice day.